Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, hi, Christine. How are you today? Oh, sorry, I had to turn the volume off on my other computer. Oh, hi, Lynn. Isn't it great weather? And what do we got? We just got a couple minutes to go. Oh, I hope you don't lose the screen. I got a notice that my computer's going to restart. Gave me a little heart attack there. But it says tomorrow, so I think we're good. Everybody got their windows open for some fresh air? Oh, that's funny, Christine. You thought Lynn was calling you beautiful? I bet she was. Let's see, let's just do another camera check. Okay, and pardon me if I'm in the way. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so who's sewing along today? I'm going to give it just one more minute. Then I'll tell you about my mistake. Then you can yell at me. It's okay, because I can't hear you. I stabbed myself with a pin yesterday. I think I need to put ointment on it because it's getting more sore instead of less sore. Okay, so let's do this first. So we have two fabrics, 9 by 14, the outside and the inside, or the outside and the lining, however you want to refer to it. A zipper that's bigger than that, 12 inches or bigger. But what I forgot about, and I know I mentioned it in last week's video, but you need 2 pieces of fabric, 2 inches by 5 inches. So if you want to scurry and get that now, I have an extra piece here if you want it. Okay, so today's bag, you notice I put the zipper at the very top. And let's see if I can open this far enough. And right here, see that where the pink is, that's a little tab that I added on. So number one, it makes it easier to grab onto. But now the tab can be in your seam if you want it to be, rather than your zipper teeth. And that really makes it easier, when, especially if you're doing a bag that the zipper's at the very top. So that's why I did the zipper at the very top as well. So let's see, and I didn't French seam this time. I just did a regular seam, and then I did, oh, let me see. Let's see which side looks better. And then I did a zigzag. So, oh, well, let me do it to the other camera, because the other camera likes close up better. Okay, we switched over. Oh, but we don't have as much, our light isn't working as well here. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Okay, see the zigzag? Now, if you have it right along here, so if you, and that just keeps it from fraying. So if you have a serger, you can use your serger. And I'll serge mine afterwards, because the serger is just a little neater. But if you don't, that's okay too. You just do that zigzag. So I thought, well, you know, sometimes you just want to do, oh, let me get back to the other one. Sometimes you just want to do a quick bag, for whatever reason, even as a gift bag. So that you put a gift in it or whatever, and the person can use it afterwards. Because you can make it small, you can make it whatever size you want. And that's why we're talking about zippers, especially today. Because, for example, let me put this right up there. So, for example, Lynn, can you hear me okay? Because I can hear on mine, but Christine says she can't hear. So I just want to double check with someone else. And I know she sometimes has trouble with that. Okay. So, oh, let me get over in the chat section here. Oh, isn't that nice? That's nice. That's nice, Christine. Give me a panic. It's okay. Okay, let me get back where I was. Okay. Oh, this is going to be camera switching time here. Okay. Sorry about that. Come on, Christine, you get everybody all nervous. Okay, so this zipper was this long. Yeah. See how long it was? 20 inches, I think, maybe. I actually got this longer one cheaper than the shorter ones, and sometimes that's just the way it is. So I cut this off ahead of time so you could see that I added a new zipper pull on. And you can buy bags of zipper pulls. You just have to make sure you get the right size. And you can tell by the pull that you have on it already. So this is a smaller one. You hold on a second, I'll show you a bigger one. Because there's going to be times when you want bigger zippers. Oh, sorry, heavier zippers. I'm saying sorry, I kicked my other tripod. Okay, and see, you can get pulls of that in different colors, but see the difference in size? So you really wouldn't want this size on this small bag. And you can buy zipper by the yard, and they'll come with a bunch of pulls on them. So you can see the difference in the size of the zipper and the size of the pull. And then you can get them in different colors. So when you buy zippers by the yard, and you can get these kind in by the yard as well. So when you buy zippers by the yard, you just pull all the pulls further in and leave one down and cut off what you need. And then because you might do a lot of short zippers, or I got these because I could just add color to the white zipper to match whatever fabric I have. It's kind of pretty just by itself. That's a little zipper lesson. When you're gonna put a pull on, you have to start from the end opposite of the tab. So you know at the other end, you have a little metal stopper piece. That's the end. That's the end that you have to put the zipper pull on. So you have to cut it off evenly and then spread this open. I know it's going to give everybody a heart attack here. Open the zipper up and then put your pull on from this end. So you just got to tuck these two in. And with a smaller zipper, it is a little harder to hang on to, but you just take your time and work it slowly and you'll get it on there. And then once it's on there, I would go ahead, and I'm going to do it right now. I'm just going to go ahead and do a little stitch over so I don't have to put that pull on again. Okay, well, that's the problem. I'm having sewing machine technical difficulties. Okay. Uh-oh. Let's see. Honestly, I was just sewing a little while ago. Oh, it'd probably help if I was all I had my, all right, so I want you to see this. Hold on one second. Because I should know better. So I'm just gonna sew this off. Okay, so it's gonna be one of those days. So let me switch over. It'll be one of those days, everyone, where you forget to thread your needle. Okay. So let me just sew this closed. And I didn't do the best job, so I'm going to come back and sew it again. There we go. That's man. Oh. Going down. Okay. It's going to be one of those kind of days. Okay, sorry about that. I've had this all week. I don't know what the problem is. internet-wise, or if it's these new updates, but I keep having little freeze spots, so don't panic. I can see them when they happen, so when I see it, I will stop what I'm doing until it stops. And generally it's just a couple seconds, but I apologize for that. So I just, here we go. I just stitched across each end. So now I don't have to worry about that. But I want to show you what happened before because it was totally my fault. And let me, because this may happen to you. So I'm going to shut my machine off, on my reach. And I was going to turn it back on. Okay, so, oh, hi, Rhonda. Rhonda and Nancy, I believe Nancy's sewing with you. Okay, so if you have an electronic machine, a lot of times you turn it on and you get some kind of a screen. And your lights will be on and all that, but your machine is not on yet. So don't do your threading because your tensions aren't open yet. So no matter which machine it is, and that goes right down to the little like Sophia 2 that Babylock makes, Verve, you need to touch the screen to activate the machine or to actually start it. But the other thing you have to remember to do, and this is what I was trying to hit my pedal and it kept telling me I couldn't do that because I haven't picked if I'm sewing or embroidering yet. So that's all I had to do. But if that happens to you, now you'll know, excuse me, now you'll know that nothing's wrong, the machine's not broke. It's just a human malfunction. Okay? I'll get all little lessons. This is little lesson day. And now, oh, there we go. Now we're getting the hesitation between cameras. Okay. So now we know about zippers, zipper pulls, different size zippers, pieces of zippers that are left over. So I could actually, instead of using this one, because see how much I have left over, I could use this one. So if you have a zipper, 7, 8 inch zipper, you can use that even if it's a little bit bigger project. But I'll go ahead and use the big one because that's what you're using. So we need a marking pencil of some kind. I cleaned up some things the other day. I'm sure you can relate to this. Or maybe not. I cleaned up something the other day. I can't find anything now because I put everything away. Apparently I put it away in a new place instead of the usual place. So I'm using my air erase pen, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't even matter if you used a Sharpie, to be honest with you. Okay, so let me set those over there for now. Okay, so we're going across this way with our zipper. And what we want to do is we want to have, let me move my zipper up there. We want to have a 1/2 inch. So we're going to do, let's say we're going to do a 1/2 inch seam on each side. So what we're going to do is, let me see if I can show you this way. I'll use my little one. We want the zipper, see it better. You see it better on this one. Yeah. We want the zipper pull tab, the zipper tab to end before the seam if we don't want that tab in the seam. And today we're going to do it without the tab in the seam so you can see how it might appear on each side. With having the tab, we could go all the way to the end, because what's going to happen is we're going to put a tab on, and I'm not putting the zipper. The end of the zipper is way up here, way up near the beginning. It'll be like this. You see how that is? Let me scooch us in a little closer. Oh, geez. Sorry about that. Everything's pausing today. So see, I'm only going to have the zipper in a little bit. So this will all just be fabric that easily works into the seam. Does that make sense? It'll probably make more sense as we go along. So let me get back to the big zipper now. So we're going to lay our zipper on. And I know I zoomed in probably a little too close. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to lay our zipper on the fabric. And we're going to come in. Let's mark in 1 inch on each side. Well, let's do one side, shall we? Let's do that. So let's do the long side first, because normally I wouldn't cut this off ahead of time. Rhonda, we're going to cut the tab fabric 2 inches by 5 inches, 2 pieces. I guess we're going to dress this now so you can be doing that while you're listening to me. What did I do with my other? Oh, there we go. And what I want you to do is just fold it under, like a little less than 1/2 inch, and press it on each side. So then fold it under, press, fold it under, press, and then fold it in half so these line up, and press it. What's going to happen is, this is going to be extra. I always do extra because I never know how much I want. And what will happen is, we'll open this up. The zip, and you don't have to be perfectly centered left and right. And we'll do this in a minute anyway. But you see how I don't have the zipper in a long way? Okay. And that way I'm going to be, the zipper is sandwiched in the tab. So how much you have here doesn't matter. The longer the better, because you can always cut it off. Okay, so you need 2 tabs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so as I was saying, this was one long zipper, and I wouldn't have cut it off beforehand, but I wanted to remember to show you about adding a pull onto it. Okay, so the zipper pull is up here, and I've got that about 2 inches past the fabric, because there's a lot of metal junk up here we want to get rid of. So I'm about 2 inches past. So on this side, I'm going to measure in and mark. So if I do this, and I lay my fabric so it's even on my grid, and all I need to do is, I'm going to go in 1 inch and mark. And that mark is going to be hidden. So don't worry about what you mark with. So see, can you see my mark? Right here. Okay? All right. So I'm going to give you just a second, if you haven't already. Rhonda, let me know when you have your tabs cut and ironed, and that way I'll know everybody's done. And that's totally my fault for not doing that ahead of time. Okay, so again, while everybody is doing their tabs, 2 inches wide, 5 inches long, fold under. It's about a 1/2 inch, might be a little less, on each end. Press it good, fold it in half. The whole point of folding this in half and lining these folded edges up is when you put your zipper in, and you sew, you want to make sure you're catching both sides at the same time. Okay? For anyone else that's ready, make sure you have your thread ready. This thread color is going to show, because it's right here. See, right there. So pay attention to that. And Rhonda, you're going to let me know when you're ready? Let's see if maybe I need to scroll down on the chat. Somebody let me know. Okay, everybody's all set. So what we're going to do, make sure you pulls up this end, okay? Not hanging off over here. So we're going to take our scissors. Oh, good, thanks, Lynn. And we're going to cut on that line. And try to cut as straight as you can. And I know you're all going, oh my God, now what? Now what am I going to do? Okay, now let's see how it shows best. Yeah, I guess we'll do it that way. So here's my tabs, one of my tabs. Okay. I want to make sure my raw edges are together, my folded edges are together, and I'm going to slide and see if I can do this so you can see. So if I open this up, I'm just going to put my zipper in that little way. Okay, so it's really less than that fold over that you did. You don't have to be exact left and right. Just make sure you're pretty close, but don't sit there and measure it for 15 minutes, because this is going to get cut off. This width is going to get cut off because we're going to make it the same size as a zipper. So we got that on, and we're just going to bring the other one up. And I have yet to find a way to pin it. You could glue it up there, but let me switch over. And let me get in a little closer. And see if we can get some better focus there. Okay. So I've just picked up my tab. I want to make sure that my folds edges are even. So you can actually, if you want to, you can get I gotta get my pedal where I can reach it. Hold on. So you can go ahead. You're stitching on just the fabric first. So you can go ahead, get a couple stitches in, and then if you need to line up anything, make sure your zipper is going straight. You don't want it to be crooked. And you're gonna sew across. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn, and I'm gonna just sew one more time. Okay, and I did a really crappy job stitching, but my lines don't meet up, but that's okay. You just want to make sure, you see how I almost, see how I'm off a little bit? But normally I would check that before I did my second row. But you guys, you might get ahead of me, and I don't want to mess you up. Okay, so we got the first one done. We okay so far? Oh, that's not good. We got to back up again. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Okay, so now I can feel where that little zipper is, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to cut this or mark this. Let's mark it just to make it easier for you. I'm going to mark this at the inch. Because there's a lot extra there. Okay, I'm going to put a little mark so you can see. You see that little mark right there? That's where my zipper is ending. So I want to make sure I have some more fabric after that, because the whole point was to not sew on that zipper. So I just drew a line across. An inch down from the fold. And I just do that just as kind of an eyeball thing, because I know I don't want this whole big tab. I'm trying to do this in a way that you'll be able to use this for any size zipper for any size bag. Okay, so this is really my cut line. This mark. So if it's easier for you, just cut it off. Okay, and so remember, we were thinking about a ½ inch away. Well, I do want to make sure that a little bit of this fabric is, because I cut that end off, the little bit of this fabric is going to be in that seam. So let's go ahead and move it just a little closer. Now let me change to the other fabric to give you the. Okay, so so I've got my fabric all the way to the edge. I want to make sure that I can feel that that zipper is not going to be in my seam. And I said, we're going to take a ½ inch seam. Well, if we're going to take a ½ inch seam, we need to move over a little. So I should have left more on. But I'm going to take it into the seam and do a ½ inch seam. And that's why normally I would mark it before I would cut it. But I wanted you to see better because you can't see the mark as well. So if you marked yours and didn't cut it, you can cut further down. I hope that wasn't confusing, because I cut before I normally would, because I didn't think you could see the mark at the end. So let's make this real easy, and let's say, okay, I've got an inch of fabric here. My end of my zipper is well away from a ½ inch seam. Hopefully that makes it easier. And I'm just going to clip that just to hang on to it. If I get any further away, I won't be able to reach. Oh. I'm going to be looking for this in a minute. Here. There we go. Okay. So can you see? I put my fabric to the edge, but the edge of my zipper, I can feel it inside, is more than a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the fabric. If I was doing a 1/2 inch seam, I would move it over. I would have the tab be a little longer. Okay? So now we got to do this side. And when I do this side, let me back this up a little bit because I'm so far away I can't reach anything. When I do this side, the first thing I need to do is I need to open up that zipper. And I can open it up less if I need to, just to keep the teeth as close together as I can. Okay? But remember, I want to make sure, so I'm going to do my tab the same. So I'm going to mark it at that inch because that's how I did that first one. So my opening is over here. It doesn't matter. So my tab openings are here. I'm just going to move over and mark an inch. Okay? So I've got to mark. Let's see if you can see it. So down from the opening side, I marked an inch. See my line right there? Okay? So I need to move my zipper a little bit more out of my way. So and I'm not going to cut this off because it's easier to hang on to when it's a little bit longer. But what I want to do is I want to lay this down so my tab mark is even with the edge of the fabric. So if you did yours 1.5 inches, 2 inches, whatever you did, I always do just one side because if I do both sides and then something's wrong, I can adjust it if I have only one side done. But sometimes once you do two, if you're off, you'd be off. You'd have to make, you can always make new tabs. If your tabs aren't long enough, make new ones. Okay, but I'm going to lay this so that that mark I made on my tab is even with my fabric. Then that's why, see, I clipped this over here just to hold on to it. Now, my cut line is actually going to be inside because I can't cut this with my tab on top of it. So what I do is I just draw a line where my tab is supposed to be. So can you see my line? Okay. So, and I can move my zipper just a little closer. So I drew my lines where my tab is going to be. And this time I'm going to cut lower than that, about 1/4 inch below that line. I can't leave it this way because I'm right-handed. So there's my marks. The marks are where the tabs are actually going to be. So I need to make sure that I have a little bit room for sewing and then a little bit room for the zipper to be left over. So I'm going to come down. You probably want a measurement. Let's say, well, shoot. 1/2 is too much, 1/4 is too little. So somewhere in between. So what is that? 3/8. Kind of do an eyeball thing. And try to cut right across. You see how I'm pinching onto this? And try to be as straight across as you can. I'm going to unclip from the fabric because I need to take it over to sew. And I'm going to open up my tab, and I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to, and roughly the line that you drew is at the edge of the tab. And you're going to fight for a minute to keep that. You're going to fight for a minute to keep those 2 zipper teeth, but worry about that more once we get over to the machine. So if we keep our eye on, there's my lines. Try to keep it as straight as you can, and just go by your lines. So if you cut a little crooked, your lines are what you want to be straight. So I'm going to put my zipper in, so it's in between the tabs, and I've lined up the tab edge with that line that I drew. Okay? So, little guy keeps popping out on me. If you have a fabric glue stick, you could use that here. I'm pinched onto it. I just have to let go to switch my mouse over to the camera. Okay. So here I am. Yep, let's get it focused in. Here we go. So here I am. And I've got my, can you see there's my line. And I have that right lined up. I'm squeezing my 2 sets of teeth together. Okay, I'm going to lay it down. Now, if you lay it down and it comes undone, that's okay. Because you see how this hand is pinching, these fingers are pinching see my teeth? Well, not my teeth. See the zipper teeth? So this hand is holding those zipper teeth together. So I'm just going to open it up. Remember, we don't have to be exactly centered, but you want some fabric on either side of the zipper. See if you can get in. So see? Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can get that camera in. Hold on. See if that helps. Let's see if that helps a little bit. All right, let me have it focus on something so it doesn't focus on my hand. Okay, so my left hand, I'm going to squeeze those teeth together, and my right hand is going to make sure that the tab stays lined up with that line I drew. Okay, and I'm holding it right here, and I'm squeezing my teeth together. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch, and I'm close to the fold. Okay, now before I turn around and stitch back, I just want to look underneath to make sure that my tab edge on this side is the same as the front, as the top one. And it is. So this time I'm going to pay better attention when I stitch back. Oh, sorry, my hand's in your way. And if you want to go back and forth over it 3 times, that you can do that. And again, we don't need to lock the thread because we're going to be cutting this. And I don't mean cutting the thread, I mean cutting the fabric. Okay, so let's look and see how we did. Now remember, I didn't cut that extra off yet. So I can line this side up with my edge, and I was off a little bit on this side. So I have two choices, and that's why I wouldn't normally cut that. I would leave it just like this one is and just use that line. But I knew you couldn't see it. So if you have that extra on, you're just going to center this as close as you can. Now, mine is a little off. So see how I'm not, see, I can get rid of all that stuff. Because these things are what's going to happen to you in real life. So see how I'm off that little bit? So I'm going to do the same thing on both sides, and that's fine because it's going to catch in my seam allowance anyway. So I'm going to cut it. Oh, so I'm going to cut it to the line I drew because it'll be off. I'll have it off the same distance on each side if I'm worried about exactly where my zipper is going to be. You know, it's like an 1/8 of an inch. But I'm going to do it just because it may happen to you. And the reason I teach you this way is because you don't know what size fabric you're going to have. You don't know what size zipper, what size tab you're going to have, the whole thing. Because sometimes you might want to come in more with your tabs and have less zipper opening for whatever bag you're doing. So I want you to be able to do this like from scratch in any situation. So hopefully you got your pulls on the inside. If not, well then you have to do another one. Okay? Well, I didn't cut that very straight. Now, the next thing we want to do is we need to trim this tabs to the same size as the zipper. So this time I'm going to use my rotary cutter because obviously I can't cut very straight. And I'm just going to lay my my ruler. So my zipper is running along that edge. And it's you know what? You may have trouble with your rotary cutter, especially I got my little one, because you're cutting next to, your ruler is on top of the teeth. So this time I'll use my scissors. And what I do is I line my scissor up with my zipper, and I'm going to come in. I'm not doing it way up here. I'm going to come into my scissor, so I should be able to just go straight back. So now I've made my tab the same width as my zipper. And when I do this end, I'm just going to get that out of the way, because now the teeth are all safe and secure inside. And I have to say, I find cutting with the zipper up here better than cutting with the zipper down here, I think, because it gives me a place to aim to. So you try which way works for you. So does anyone have any questions before we make the bag? Because it's easier to answer them while the zipper's not hooked on to the bags. Anybody have any questions? Sorry, was my drink chug-a-lugging? I'm just gonna wait 1 minute. Rhonda, you good? Christine, Lynn, somebody, anybody? Somebody out there. All right, I'll put my stuff away while I'm waiting to see if anybody has any questions, or someone says, yeah, going fine. Okay. Okay, Lynn. I got an okay. I'm not sure what that. I'm not, with Lynn, it's hard to say if okay means yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, we need our zipper foot on. And we had our lesson last week. Standard zipper foot. It's got a little bar on the right, left, and on the right, depending which side we're going on. So I'm just going to put it on my left one for now. And when I get over there to sew the zipper, I'll know what a good guesser, if I was a good guesser or not. Okay, so my foot's on. Now, we have to remember, zipper right side up. I'm going to keep the zipper pull, let's see, about 3/4 of the way down. And what's going to happen is when we go along, we're going to stop maybe an inch before that pull, lift the foot up, and pull the zipper back out of our way. Okay, so you got to decide which is your lining fabric and which is your outside fabric. This was going to be my lining and this my outside. Now I can't decide. Oh, I have to, because see, I did it opposite. So lining fabric is down, right side up. Zipper is down, right side up. I've got to bring this down so I can at least reach. I'll go this way. Then I can reach it. All right. I'm going to get my clips ready. 3 clips today. It's a 3-clip day. Remember, flat side of the clip goes down because we're going to sew it exactly this way. So we always have the zipper with the fabric at the top of the zipper. Front of the zipper is facing up because this is going to be our right side coming down. Okay? So I remember mine was a tad short. I'm going to clip in a little ways. Oh, clip's on upside down. Because if I put the clip on at the end, I have to take it off before I can even start sewing. And it's easier to do this not holding the fabric up. I just can't see that far away. Okay, middle clip. And the end clip can be on the end. And just make sure that your zipper is laying nice and flat. Oh, I wondered why I had my zipper went to the very end on the other side. It's because I was too far away from that end. So you want that zipper, because the zipper will kind of coil up on you. So you want to make sure that zipper lays nice and flat. And it might feel a little wavy where the pull is. So if you want to pull it just to make sure it's nice and flat. It's just the zipper because it's open. Okay, so this is our lining fabric, right side up. Zipper, right side up, you know, because the pull's on top. Front fabric, right side down. And now I gotta turn around this way so I can see. And I want to make sure. So spread your fabric out. Don't have it all bunched up. Because we want to make sure that our fabrics are lined up this way. So if you've got it all bunched up and all that, you can't really tell. So we want to be nice and straight here, right side of fabric to the right side of the zipper. Okay, and now I can just pick it up, open the clip up, and put the top one on, making sure that my zipper and the back fabric and the front fabric are all lined up together. Okay, we're looking good. Okay, so when you pick it up, everybody should be even at the top. All right, let's switch over. So I have my zipper foot on the left side bar, because remember, the side of the zipper has that channel for the teeth to go through. So what I'm going to do is I came in a little ways. I just wanted to see where my zipper teeth were and how it lined up to the zipper. Yeah, I'll get my finger out of the way. So because I'm going to start sewing back here, there's no zipper. So I always come up just to get an idea, okay, where do I need to be? Well, the edge of my foot, let me get my hand out of the way. The right edge of my foot is even with the raw edge of my fabric sandwich. Okay? Oh, sorry, it always takes me forever to get those stupid little legs back. Okay, we're ready to go. So now I got to back up to the edge of my fabric, but I know that I'm lining up the left side, the right side of my zipper foot is lined up with the edge of my fabric. So I'm going to go back because I want to be right at the edge. And give me a second as I'm too far to the left to see. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and start. And I don't need to lock my stitch because there's going to be a seam coming across this way. Every time I pull out my pin, my clip, I want to make sure that I look under and find that my back fabric, my zipper, and my front fabric are all lined up together. And you can't see, but I'm holding on out here. So that keeps this a little taut so I can make sure everything is okay. Okay, but my other clip is right near my pull. So I'm going to reach in, and I'm getting my pull, and I'm moving it a little bit towards me, just a little bit, because I want to go a little bit further. So when I take this clip out, and I know my hand gets in your way, again, I'm checking to make sure that my fabrics and my zippers are all lined up, and then I want to stop about an inch or so before my pull. Okay, so my pull is here, and I'm going to reach in. So I'm reaching in here, and I'm getting my zipper pull, and I'm going to hold on here, and I'm going to pull it back. If you have problems, remember your foot will lift up a little. Let me do it this way. Watch my foot. It'll lift up a little higher than what it normally lifts. There's a little extra there that you have to hang on to. Or if you need to, turn your fabric and just pull that zipper out of your way, that zipper pull out of your way. Now we're nice and flat the rest of the way. Again, I want to check and make sure everybody's lined up. So my top fabric was a little to the right. I just grabbed this end of it and just gave it a little pull to get it back where it belonged. Oh. And because I went way up with my foot, I had to manually put my foot down. I know life is tough. Look, don't need to be that fast. Okay, taking out my last clip, double checking that everybody is still playing together nicely and my ends are lined up. And I'm hanging on till I'm done. Okay, everybody do okay on that? So now we're gonna open it up. I can close my zipper for the moment, it just makes it easier. And I wanna make sure you're gonna go over to the iron and press. Don't press your zipper. Press. I mean, you can press lightly, but remember that it's plastic. Sorry for my reach there. So you're going to go over and make sure that you give that a press so that that fabric isn't making a fold where the seam is. And make sure you check both sides. Okay? Well, I guess I'll do it this way. So again, I'm going to pull down here out of my way because I'm going to be starting to sew up here. I'm going to take my front fabric and it's going to go over the zipper because remember, we're always putting the fabric at the top of the zipper. And I mean the top, I mean this is the top and this is the bottom of the zipper. So we're always covering over with the fabric, covering over the whole zipper. And try to make sure you line up as best you can this way. We can always trim a little bit off if you, so see like this, I've got a little extra of my back fabric. I'm not going to worry about that because this folded up nice and smooth. It's even on this side. It's just a little, it's straight on this side. It's just a little off from the other fabric. And that's going to happen. That's what, you know, real life does. So I'm going to clip. Remember that first clip comes a little ways in. Now, your zipper's doing a little shenanigans on you because see how it wants to pull away. You're just going to make sure when you clip, your fabric and zipper are nice and flat. And you just line up with the edge of that zipper. And what I do sometimes is I come over here so that I can get my clip under. And then come to the end and clip. And we got to roll it over because we got to put the lining on. We can't put it on the same way we did last time because they have to be two separate pieces now. Okay? So to me, it's easier to just face it towards me. I'm going to line up across the top, but again, I want to make sure this is laying nice and flat and my edges are pretty straight. And then, I know this is going to seem funny to you, but the flat end of the clip, let's see, where are we? Yeah, the flat end of the clip is going to stay the way it is because the lining will be down. So when I take my clip off, I'm pinching my fabric so it doesn't get, one doesn't get away from me. And if your fabric wants to get away from you, don't let it bully you. You be in charge. Just make that fabric get back into line. Okay? So lining, lining, outside fabric here, and we're ready to stitch again. And we don't have to change, oh, you know what? We have to undo this. And you're all going to go, oh, because we want to have top stitching. And the reason I want to do top stitching today is because I want you to see how you're going to top stitch the second half. So you don't have to do top stitching, but today I want you to do top stitching. Because I want you to see how to top stitch once the bag is both sides are done. So now it's easy. So we're just going to top stitch along, and don't try to get as close to the edge of the fabric, and make sure that under fabric, I keep pulling it from this end and pulling it down because it wants to come back and fold back up. So, oh, we do have to change our zipper foot. I know, you're going, oh, come on, stop it. Okay, because our zipper is on the right, but our tunnel for it is on the left. So, just switch it to the other side. You remember we did this last week. Okay, so now the tunnel, or the back part of the zipper, is on the same side as the teeth. Now you might not necessarily use the tunnel, but you'll probably use a little bit of it. And I've got to get up higher. I can't see from this far down. So I'm gonna go ahead and stitch mine so you can see how far I'm about a, I don't know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch from the edge. I'm trying to use my pedal and stand up at the same time. And see, when I get near my pull, I'm going to do it this way this time. See, I'm going to turn the fabric around to the front, and I can get my zipper past. So as long as your needle's down, you can twirl your fabric all over. It's okay. All right, let's see if you can see. So you want to be about, well, it's going to take a second to, here we go. So you see, the further away you get, you see how you might start to get that lip. So don't go too far away. That's a good distance right there. You see that all right? Okay? I know, you're still telling me you had it all clipped so nicely. Let's practice. So we're going to pull our zipper, pull down. Okay? Now, I showed you how we separated the two before. and we did the back first. So if you want to do the front first, this, how did we know? We did the lining first on the other one, didn't we? So we can flip it over, because it doesn't matter which side you do, you're still flipping the fabric up to the top of the zipper. So whatever way is more comfortable for you, whichever one you want to start with first, that's fine. That's up to you. You're gonna find you want to do things a certain way. It just works out for you. And I always say, don't try to do it exactly how I do if it's not comfortable for you. Lining up our sides. So I'm doing my lining first. And I have to remember that the flat of my clip is going to go to the lining side. And you may hold your fabric this way. I just find it's easier when I'm like looking right at it. Okay, then once I have that done, remember to bring your pull down. And again, I'm going to turn it towards me because I can see it better. And I'm going to be stitching from this end, so I'm going to make sure this clip is like right down here. And then don't forget to make sure that this is nice and flat and straight, because you get so involved in figuring this out, lining this up, you sometimes forget about this, and you end up with a twisted bag. Not your twisted sister. I guess I shouldn't say your twisted sister. I don't know if your sister's twisted. Twisted sister, as we say. Okay, are we good? Okay, so guess what we have to do again? Let's go over to the sewing machine and see. Okay, so I'm back to, let's see. I'm sewing this way. So my teeth are on the left. So I've got to move my zipper foot back to the left side. Well, it would have been easy if I just let the zipper foot stay where it was, but it spun away on me. Okay, so we're on the left side because the tunnel is on the left and our zipper teeth are on the left. And again, I'm going to move this down a little bit because I'm sewing on just fabric first. I'm going to move my fabric down, my bag down, and I just want to put my foot down to see where my teeth are. And again, I'm lined up. Oh, sorry. I'm lined up. See how my fabric is lined up with the edge of my foot? Okay? Sorry, the tripod leg got caught on the table behind me. I couldn't figure out what was going on. But I'm going to come back to the beginning and stitch from there. And remember, my pull is down this end. So I'm going to double check, make sure nobody got to be a rascal here. And every time I pull my clip off, I'm going to look under and make sure that everybody's lined up. And again, I had to just pull my top fabric down a little bit. It tends to want to go to the right. And see, I can see my zipper sticking out here because that's that little area where it's near the pull. So I just got to make sure everybody's lined up. And I'm going to stop about an inch or so before the pull. So my pull is right here. I'm just going to reach in. And again, see how I can come over here and get, oh, now see, I'm too close and I'm hitting my foot. So I either can come around, bring my fabric around and go, or I can lift my foot up a little more. And you have to hold it when you lift it up like that. And zip it out of the way. I'm going to take my last clip out. I'm just going to look and make sure everybody's lined up like they're supposed to be. And the two ends of my lining and my top fabric are lined up. Oh, I got to put my foot down. Okay, is everybody all set? You're probably way ahead of me. So we've got two pieces here. We're going to have to reach in and open up the zipper. So I just reached inside of the front piece, and I'm going to open the zipper all the way up. And I'm going to turn this right side out. Because remember, we have to do our other top stitching. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to open it up. To do your top stitching, you're going to go, oh, okay, let's get our ironing done first. So you're going to make sure you reach in and pull that lining fabric away from the zipper and give it a press. So that you don't want to have a fold. I'm going to look on the inside. So you can turn it the other way around and make sure that it's pressed on the inside. So you'll just turn it inside out again and make sure that this fabric is nice and flat as well. Okay? Then I want you to turn it right side out because I think this is what you're going to be inclined to do. And now we need to do the top stitching. And we're like, how do I do that? I can't put it on this way on my free arm. That doesn't help. I have no way to do that. The first thing we're going to do is open the zipper all the way up. Okay, so you got right side up, zipper's opened all the way. We can't sew because there's fabric underneath. So what do we have to do? We have to have the fabric on top. So we're going to turn it inside out, but let's see. It's the easiest way to do this for you. We have to sew the right side. Can't remember which way I did this last time. So I'm going to close my zipper to get my pull out of the way. Okay, so we need to stitch this. See, now there's nothing underneath. It's up on top, and you're going, well, yeah, that's not going to work out well. Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Okay, so our teeth are on the other side, so we've got to change our foot over, so we might as well do that right away. I got to get all these clips out of my way. Okay, so I know you might be a little nervous about this, but when you're doing anything like in the round, so say I had to go around this, and this was just not wide enough to put on my free arm, This is the exact same thing. You work with your fabric above you because you can't work with it, the extra part below you. So it's above you. First of all, you can keep an eye on it in case it tries to, you know, have little shenanigans going. Okay, so let's go over to the sewing machine. Take a big breath. Not as bad as it seems. And all we're going to concern ourselves with is the area we're sewing. Don't concern yourself with 5 inches down that you haven't gotten to yet. Okay? My pull is down towards me. And again, I'm going to start at the beginning. I have to move my chair again. Okay. So, I wish I could sew and do this. So this is what we're doing. Let's see if I can hold this and stitch. Well, this will be a treat. So, oh, hold on a second. I gotta get my fabric lined up. Let me get my fabric lined up. And let me just get it started sewing so I have another hand here. Okay. So all I have to do, look, is just keep this open and keep stitching along. So hopefully this doesn't make you too dizzy. So I'm just going to stitch along and then open some more because what, oh, sorry. And then I'm going to open some more because what's happening is, let me back up here a little bit. All right, I'm trying to do this and look at my fabric is going to curl up back here. So I really have the same opening the whole time. Oh, sorry. You good? So again, I'm gonna stop and see as I go along. I'm making like I'm caught on my table. Hold on. There we go. See how back here? Oh, for crying out loud! Yeah, back here. There's your excess fabric. So this opening stays about the same the whole time. You're just now you have fabric surrounding you, but you're just going to keep going. And now when I get close to the pull, which is right there, I'm going to move that again just like we did before. Does that make sense to you? I don't want to keep sewing that way because I think it'll make you dizzy. So let's see. So let's see if I can get my, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Hold on, let me do this. Okay, so see what I'm doing. Oh, back up. I'm trying to get around I'm trying to get around my pedal. Let's see if I can make it so you can see. So I just got a little, see how it is? And I'm just going to keep having that opening because more of the fabric will go behind and I'll have less as I go. So I'm not sure if I can, let me see if I can do this without getting my whole hand in the way. All right, so I've got to move my pull back. So I'm just going to turn my fabric. Oh, I'll pick my foot up a little more. I'm trying to do this without getting my hands in your way. And I can't not get my hands in your way. There we go. Oh. And see how I just keep having a tunnel. See? Whoop. Hold on. See? So I just keep having this little tunnel to sew in. And all my fabric is up around me where I can keep an eye on it. So I don't have to worry about, am I sewing extra fabric in underneath? It's all right up here in this little pocket, like a little cocoon. And I'm just going to keep going until I get to the end. So hopefully that made a little sense to you. I think when you actually did it, you could see exactly how it was working. Yeah, no shenanigans, Cindy. You can't let the fabric have any shenanigans. Okay, we're almost done. So we can go ahead and look and see what a fine job we did with our top stitching. It's looking so nice. Okay, we want to make sure at this point we want the zipper all the way open. Well, pretty darn close. Depends how long your little tab is. So we're not doing a French seam this time, so we're going right to the inside out, just like you normally would, right sides together. Okay? And we're gonna fold it. I just pinched it right here because there's no zipper out here where my fingers are. So we don't have to worry about those teeth, you know, when you try to pinch this zipper this way out in the seam, it's like zipper on top of zipper. Okay? Now, if your sides aren't perfect, now's the time to fix them. Okay? But don't cut off too much that you get way over to your zipper. So if I needed to trim this a tad, I have to get my big rotary cutter out. Oh, I found my marking pens. They're in with my rotary cutter. Why would I do that? Okay, so because I've got, and you see here? See how I've got a little more fabric here than there? I'm just gonna sliver trim that off. So I'm laying this nice and flat. Your ruler is going to be a little harder because the zipper's up here, but make sure, again, you're straight across here, you're straight across here. Take that little sliver off, and you're going to need your 45 mil rotary cutter only because your ruler is up in the air. And I had to pull my ruler away because this part of my rotary cutter was up high enough that it was making it a little crooked. So now it's nice and even. And what the heck, I might as well even up the other side. And again, I'm just taking the sliver off. I've lined up here and I'm lined up here. So I have to say, it worked better going towards the zipper with the zipper up this way than it did starting out with the zipper down here. So I would turn this over. So you always want to find out, you know, which way works better. Some days it's one way, some days it's another. I threw my little cut off slivers. I threw them to my trash and the fan blew them back out of the trash. That could amuse me for 10, 15 minutes. Okay, so we're all nice and straight. So remember on mine, I told you that I was a little short on each side. So see that? It's not going to matter because it's going to be in my seam. And you see that? Oh, wait a minute. That was a little harder to see. Let me do it this way. There. See that little space? That's fine. If you want it so that the whole fabric isn't in the seam, this end of the fabric is going to have to be stitched somehow to keep it closed. So that's why you probably want to go a little, even a little bit. So if I do a 1/4 inch seam, I'm still good. Okay? So we're right sides together. Get rid of our rotary cutter and all that. Right sides together. I just give it a little pinch up here because you got a lot of thickness here. So I'm going to stitch from this side down and not start with the thickness. So let's see, I'm going to be going this way. I was trying to decide which the flat was. If I'm going from this side, now my flat is underneath. Okay, when I do this one, I'm going to flip it this way. So then my flat is opposite of what it was on the other side. And make sure you keep your fabrics nice and even. Okay, so I want to make sure I pin these first. Then I'm just going to smooth it out or clip them. And I'm going to clip about right there. And this one, because I'm coming from the other direction, I got to think about having my clips flat. Just easier. Okay, so I want to make sure before I start sewing that I turn it over on both sides and make sure that both sides are nice, there's no ripples. So I can feel that my pull is right here, but I'm coming from this direction down. So this pull, if I need to, let's do this side first where the pull is. Let's just bring the pull in a little bit. So see how I brought it in? Now this bunch, and you can feel it because it's metal, is not interfering with my sewing foot, presser foot. And we're going to go ahead and put our regular presser foot back on. Okay? And you can see me right here sewing, so I won't switch to the other camera. And you've had enough dizziness for one day. So our pull is here. All I did was move it over. So I'm about 3 inches. So if I lay that here, measure over, my pull is about 3 inches away from this edge. But before I go to this side, I want to open this all the way up. If I don't, I can always reach in and get it. You just don't want it all the way closed. Ready to go? So I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam on mine. And I want a locking stitch at the top and the bottom, or at the beginning and the end. Side movement. So I'm going to go 3 forward, 3 back, and then go. So 3 forward, and then 3 back, and then go. I took my clip out. Remember how I always keep my hand holding out everything so it's nice and straight. And I'm going to go down to the end. And I'm going to turn it to come back my 3. I could go one more, I think. And I'm going to come back a little ways. And I'm just going to do my regular locking stitch here because you know by now that I don't like to trim, I don't like to end out at the end. I'd rather end in here a little ways. Okay? So now we're just going to reach in and pull that, put that zipper pull all the way back. Well, look, I could reach in the big side. All right, just being a rascal now. I had to turn it right. I just turned it right side out. I couldn't because I just couldn't grab a hold of it. Okay, so I just reached in like and turned it like that and pulled that zipper back. Okay, so now we're going to do our other side. Remember, we're not going to start at the thick end. That's just, you're just asking for trouble. We're going to start down at the nice end. Three forward, three back. I was going to say, my machine was so quiet. I thought it came unthreaded. I could tell it was just, I don't know why, it was just a little too quiet. Oh yeah, trying to get the thread into the trash with the fan blowing. Try that one. Okay. All right, let's try that again. Well, you're probably all done. So you can say to me, yeah, I'm all done. Three forward, three back. Making sure I hold my finger on that end right there to stitch to the end. Turn it, stitch back. I stitched back about, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so, and then lock it. Okay, so now you're thinking, well, all right, now I got these raw edges. So first I want you to just peek through and make sure that you caught both seams before we go any further. Just do a little check, make sure your seams are all caught. Because I know sometimes your 1/4 inch seam gets it's a little thin. Now, if you have a serger, you're just going to serge up these edges. And you can use a 3-thread. I'd use a 3-thread narrow. I wouldn't use a 3-thread like rolled edge or anything because that would make a knot. But I'd use a 3-thread only because it's narrower. And don't have it too close together because the closer the thread is together, the stiffer this seam would be. But on this one, I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch. So I'm going to switch over. I want to make sure does anybody have any questions before we get to the last part? I was going to say, put your hand up if you have a question. Just kidding. All right, let me switch over. Let's come here. I want a zigzag stitch. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at the default, which is length 1.4, width 3.5 for the moment. And what I'm going to do is, and again, I want to have the thicker edge at the bottom that I'm sewing off of rather than sewing onto. And what I'm going to do, and you can do this with your thread out of your needle if you want to, but what I want to do is I want to see how wide this is. So if I just, let me see if I can turn the wheel without tipping the camera over. So if I just turn the wheel, and I can see the zig and the zag, and that looks pretty good to me. Then I just want to make sure I lock it before I start, and then go ahead and zigzag. And I want to make sure I don't go past, I don't want my needle to go past my stitching line, because then it would It would look like little puckers going up the outside of your bag. You could go a tad wider, but that seems that default one seems pretty good to me. And then when I get to the other end, I'm just going to do my locking stitch in place. So let's see if I can show you. Let me get it to focus on this. All right. So if you have it running close to the edge, this stuff you'll just all trim off. So if you're a little way, let me see if I can get this. Hold on. I have to move opposite of what I think I do. All right. If I'm a little ways from the edge, I really don't want to come in and trim that because I'll end up trimming off the stitches. So don't worry about it, but you really want to be about, and then get down, which way down. Oh, yeah, can you see that I'm at the edge? Hold on. Oh, well, that wasn't helpful, was it? I let go of it so I could make the camera focus. All right, hold on. Honest to God, I'll hold. There we go. There we go. So see how the zigzag is close to the edge? It doesn't need to be close to the seam. It doesn't need to be close to the seam. It needs to be closer to the edge. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Let's just get the other side done. Now, you have to know if you're on the zig or the zag when you start again, which means, is the needle on the right or is it on the left? Because you don't want to think it's on the right and it's on the left and then it goes off the fabric. Now, some of you, a lot of you, have a button for this. So let me see if I can back this up. And your button might be in a different place. And I think I showed you on the Adventurer where it was. Let's make it focus in there. So this is the Solaris. So the Babylock Solaris. On the Destiny net, I think your buttons are already open. But what you're looking for is, you see the one with the needle and the star and the heart and the star. If you find that on your machine somewhere, when you hit that, it takes you back to the beginning of whatever stitch you're working on. So if your needle was on the left, it would have put it back to the right. You might as well learn to use some of these buttons that you have that you might not even know you have. Okay, so I'm going to lock in place, and then I'm just going to finish zigzagging up. And again, if you have a serger, you're going to take it right over to the serger and do it there. Just make sure you serge to the right of your seam line. And I'll be doing some projects just for the serger once we get the regular sewing under control. Because we could have done this whole bag on the serger. Yes, we could have, zipper and all. Okay. Oh, Rhonda's got her hand up. You're so funny, Rhonda. Okay, now what's your question? You gotta have a question now that you got your hand up. Where'd you find? So Rhonda found a hand to put up. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we're all done. So let's turn our bag right side out. And let's take out yet another tool. Oh, you're going to be able to see this edge really cute. I like the tab being a different fabric. Looks cute. You first have to push that part out where the zipper is with your finger first. Don't try to make your whatever tool you're using do it. Isn't it cute? Isn't that cute with a little look? Now, hey, check that out, ladies, gents. Check that out. A whole flower right on that tab. What was the chances of that happening? I was going to give this away, but I think now I have to keep it because I have to admire that. Look at it. Check that out. It's a whole little flower. Okay. It's almost a whole little flower. Oh, check this out. It's almost a whole little flower again. All right. I can tell you right now that if I wanted to do that, it wouldn't have happened. So then you're going to take it over and give it a press. So let me tell you this little tidbit. So you see, if you press this, you see how you get like a little canal going there? Well, if you open this up at your iron, and I'm flattening out the bottom too, and you press this, so that seam is pressed nice and flat, and just do as much of it you can. So you might only get the little, front of your iron in here, and then turn it over and try not to press the sides, make creases, if you can. But if you press this open first, then when you put it this way, it'll stay not making that little canal. Does that make sense? I think I'm going to have to make an orange tassel now or something, because that's really, oh, look. What do you think? That's my tassel. Oh, it's a silly day today, isn't it? It's just so nice out. It makes me happy. So how did everybody do? Do you like the little tabs? I think it adds makes it look a little more high-end, I think, to do that little extra work. I know it seemed confusing, but I think if you do a couple of them, then you won't have to mark so much. But I always mark it and don't cut it until I lay out both sides and see how they are. The big thing to remember is don't stick the end of that, don't stick this end too far into the tab, because then you're defeating the whole point. Make sense? So does anybody have any questions before we end? Next week we're going to do my plan. I always have a plan. My plan is to do a real easy shopping bag, because I find right now that we can use our, we bring our own bags to the store now, but I want some that I can throw in the laundry. And if I want some, I'm betting maybe you do too. So we'll keep it real simple, and we'll do that next week. Oh, Ron, do you like the tabs? I do. I hadn't used them much before because half the time, you're in a rush and so forth. Oh no, you know what? We're also going to do one more bag, and the zipper's going to be in the middle, and we're going to box the corners so it sits up. So like you could put your rotary cutter in it, or like stick all your wooden tools in it, or whatever the case may be. So we do have one more bag to do. So we'll either do that bag next week, and we're going to still do tabs. The dimensions are going to be different. I'll have to let you know, and I know I promise you every week I'll do it early, and I'll do it as early as I can. And I appreciate your patience. So let me just wait for a second, see if there's any last minute questions. So some of you I will see on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Anyone's welcome to join in. Looks like everybody likes the tabs. Now don't forget, you're going to practice this. Well, you have to get some of these pulls first. I think some of your quilt stores will have these, because they have them to match the zippers that they generally have. And some places will have the zippers on the roll. I'll try to look it up this week and see if I can find a couple links, and I'll put them on my website. So it's the right spot, TheRightSpot.com, and I have a page there with links to all the tools that I use, and I'll see what I can find. And when I put the zippers, I'll put the right size extra poles to go with it. Oh, thanks, Rhonda. I appreciate you guys too. So everyone, have a good rest of the weekend. I'm in New Hampshire, and let me see, it's 74 outside. So this must be our Indian. So we're having Indian summer, and we're going to enjoy it as long as we can. Thanks again for joining in, and I'll see you next time.